Well, talk about the All Blacks having fallen off after last week's 4-point win over the French. May have been a little bit premature because match number 2 in Wellington, which is a bit of a cursed ground for the ABs where the record is not particularly good, has walked out with a pretty comfortable 43-17 win. Tries through Roygaard, Savia, Taylor, Vai, Jordan and Ioane. 2 tries in the second half sees the French bring the scoreline a little bit more respectable. All Blacks couldn't quite bring up 50 at the end, but this game was well done and dusted. I mean, basically by halftime. Halftime it's 29-3, and you can't really see the All Blacks losing it from there. I think they'll be happy with the way they disrupted the French lineup. I think in particular in the first half, the kicking game was causing the French all kinds of problems in terms of the territorial battle. The All Blacks will be happy with how much ball they had. You know, Roygaard and Savia and whatnot, particularly busy on their ball carries. Fabian Holland puts in another big defensive shift. Final 20, from an All Blacks point of view, peters out a little bit. France will be a little bit happier with the impact they were kind of able to get from the bench. But yeah, ultimately 43-17 is much more in line with what the predictions were compared to last week's result down in Dunedin. We'll go through some of the key events and the stats, and you guys can let us know your thoughts on the game. But like I said, All Blacks, they did well with the kicking battle, but to be honest, I thought France won the initial kicking duel. Bodie put it out on the full. The French went through a bunch of phases, I think 14 of them, but the All Blacks defence held, which was an encouraging one. And the first New Zealand attack down in the French half, into their 22, saw the French concede a penalty, and the All Blacks opted for a 3, which is kind of respecting the team as it was based on last week, you know, where it was, as I said, a lot closer than expected. A 3-0 lead to the All Blacks is certainly, something to get the ball rolling. And then the kicking from Will Jordan and Bodie Barrett did start to get on top, I felt. You know, they kept pushing the French guys and pinning them back. Then on 13 minutes, we got the first try of the game. It is Roygaard who's able to finish it off. It is a pretty slick line-out trick play. It's very, very nice. If you haven't seen the highlights of it, go back and watch it. I'm not going to be able to do it justice, but I mean, line-out, fairly close range in the French half. They put the ball up, and then as they get it to the back of the maul, it looks like the forwards are shifting it to go right, but it's all a fake because it's actually Savia feeding the ball to Roygaard, who snipes left down the blind side. They'd obviously done a bit of analysis on where the French guys defend at line-out time. Roygaard was out on his open down by the touchline and goes over for the first try, which is converted. So 10-0 lead for the ABs. Then we get a bit of trouble because Bodie Barrett gets himself yellow carded for a deliberate knock-on. I still hate the deliberate knock-on law. I don't think he was deliberately knocking it on. He stuck his hand out and the ball hit his hand. You could argue he stuck his hand out to block the ball. Whatever that is, I don't have a problem with the fact that it was consistent with what I expected to happen. Because in rugby union, the way it works at the moment, if you stick your hand out anywhere and the ball hits it, you're very likely to get yellow carded. So I 100% saw the yellow card coming. I just don't like that law. I just don't think it adds much. I know you could say if you let people stick their hands out, they'll be blocking passes all day long and it'll be a horrendous watch, but I don't know. As many people have said, including in the comments of the live stream we did for the game, if you can't pass the ball without someone blocking it, then maybe you're not passing it well. I've been going on a rant. Bodie gets yellow carded, and I don't like the deliberate knock-on law. That's the too long, didn't read version of that. France opt for the 3 to get themselves on the board, 10-3. Those are the only points France get in the first half. All Blacks are relatively comfortable. I mean, despite going 14 men, it's France that start conceding the penalties. New Zealand not opting for 3s. They set another nice line-out maul. This time, no jumper at the line-out, and just driving over with Ardie Savia. Like literally, they just didn't jump. Just kept it low, was able to set the maul quicker with no having to wait for the jumper to come down, and it was very efficient from the ABs. Who knew we're a maul team, apparently, or a line-out set play team? It's not what the All Blacks are really known for. Like, you know, Roygaard, line-out try, Savia, line-out try, and then Cody Taylor would get one from a maul later on as well. France did go length of the field from turnover ball, which looked dangerous, but the TMO came in. There's a lot of talk about the TMO here in New Zealand last week. Whether they talk about it as much in a 43-17 result remains to be seen, but the TMO came in. This time it was for Brennan, tip tackling Jordie Barrett. He ends up getting yellow carded, so they take the play from that French attack way back to where the All Blacks had had the ball and Jordie had been tip tackled. It looked a bit worse because as he tip tackled him, Jordie hit the ground and Brennan just kept on driving and his head ended up smashing into Jordie's nose. He ended up with a blood nose, so you could argue that one should have been worse. Jordie has to go off for an HIA, which he does pass, but yeah, it doesn't look pretty, that one for sure. From the resulting penalty, All Blacks line out, maul time, Cody Taylor. So 3 line out moves, a couple of them into mauls, one of them ends in a trick play. They're all tries, but they're not kind of traditional All Blacks stereotypical tries anyway about, just broken play, turnover ball, all that kind of stuff. It's very efficient stuff from the ABs, but yeah, looking like a pretty comfortable lead. Misconversion, but 22-3. Va'i does concede a soft penalty. I thought he had a pretty good game generally, but playing the ball on the ground was soft. But then France needed that moment. New Zealand just given away a dumb penalty. They're like down 22 points to 3, 19 points down. Segon, the number 10, just kicks the resulting penalty dead. So a chance to wrestle back some momentum down the drain for France. And then Savia, man, he gave Segon a big don't argue on 36 minutes as well. He gets a break. Then you get the hands on the ball from the All Blacks guys. It's Roygaard to, I think it was Ioane to Holland to Va'i. And it is try time. Va'i is able to finish it off by sliding over the line, making sure nobody's going to hold him up. 29-3. Both of those last 2 tries as well scored during the French yellow card. So the All Blacks not only scored when they had a man disadvantage, but 2 with the man advantage as well. So yeah, be it 15 or 14 or whatever it is, the All Blacks were quite happy to keep scoring. Possession was 56-44, territory 51-49, so pretty tight, but clean breaks 4-1, defenders beaten 14-6, and the French have conceded 7 penalties to 2. So fully deserved lead from the All Blacks in the first half, pretty clinical, and showing some good plays from set piece, which is that's the way you score tries in modern rugby. France did have a few penalty advantages to start the second half. Ioane had to put in a nice kind of intercept play to stop what would have been probably a sure thing French try, but back for an advantage from the resulting 5-metre lineout. France forwards did finally go close, and then Barre is able to get it out wide. He's a good player. I think he's a good addition to the squad at fullback. He's a big dude. He gets the try to make it 29-10, which is a little bit closer, but they had Will Jordan, who hasn't had that many involvements up until that point on 53 minutes. He's able to make the most of a lot of New Zealand pressure, which really started from, because France did start the second half well, but it started with a Tupo Va'i penalty won at the breakdown, which got New Zealand the territory and the possession down France's end and able to wrestle the momentum back in. Forwards going close and then wide to Jordan, who's able to go over 36-10. France did get held up on 56 minutes as they tried to kind of hit back. The desperation defense from the All Blacks was encouraging from that one. And then on 61 minutes, France couldn't quite handle a Bodie Barrett left-footed dinking kick through. Rico was able to grab it in the French 22. They went through some phases. Roygaard, Karifi with a nice pass to Jordie Barrett to Ioane. Final try time for the All Blacks. That try made it 43-10, which is looking pretty emphatic. We're still only at, 62 minutes? This could get 50, could get 55 points on the board, but for the All Blacks, that's the final scoring. If there's one thing you look at this game and go, that's a work on for next week, I mean, they won't be happy with the final 20. It did get kind of scrappy. France got held up again. Topa Whenua, he's a big unit. Flattened D-Mac. That's a mismatch of all mismatches. And they did get one a minute later through Brennan from close range, another kind of 5-metre line out to make it 43-17. So France did have the kind of last try wins, but ultimately the game, as I said, was pretty much won by halftime, wasn't it? Like the possession and territory even out, but France had the better of the two in the second half. The All Blacks had the better in the first. Clean breaks is still 7-2 to the ABs. Run meters is 488 to 312 to the ABs. The penalty count still against France, 13-8. So the All Blacks had plenty of kind of nice stats to look back on. Savia, 13 carries, beat 5 defenders, gets himself a try. Brennan had 13 carries for France as well, so he was certainly busy on his debut. Roygaard had 56 metres. That guy is really dangerous, continues to prove why he is our first choice 9. Boscheton, 18 tackles. Fabian Holland, 16 tackles, so big defensive shifts both ways. Vai also had 13. Karefi, 3 penalties conceded. He won't be too happy with that from the bench, but he did have a hand in setting up a nice All Blacks try like I mentioned. But yeah, 43-17. Pretty emphatic in the end compared to last week's result. I still think the All Blacks are pretty good. I think the French will be better for having tested a bit more of their depth. There's still one more game between these teams in Hamilton next week. I think we can expect both coaches to change things up a bit for that one, but you guys let us know your thoughts on how it is going to go. Take care, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon.